Hi, I hope you're having a lovely January so far. My name is Fiona. I am an artist and illustrator living in Scotland. And recently I have been thinking about where I want to take my art in 2025. I'm still fairly new to YouTube, so for this coming year, I really want to focus on growing my channel and finding my feet and really figure out my voice like on here on YouTube. And I want to grow as an artist as well. That's a given. That's always important to me as well. But yeah, those aims are kind of vague. And I think the real way to make things like that happen is to get specific about what you want to do. So without any further ado, this video is my list of goals and plans for 2025. Goal number 1. I want to go out and draw on location at least once a month. I feel like it's so great for my art practice and loosening up and everything. I work from home, and when you work from home as a person who's also quite introverted as well, it's really easy to just take the comfy path of not going out that much, especially when it's really cold. In the moment, it does feel great to just like stay in and work from my desk. You know, sometimes I'll just straight up take my iPad and get in bed and work there, especially when it's really, really cold. I live in Scotland and it's not really gotten above like 0 Celsius for weeks. I've been a bit of a house slug recently. But yeah, over the course of days and weeks of doing that, I just started to feel very blah, like my mental state is just gradually dropping in this vague, intangible way. Yeah, I know being a house cat is not necessarily great for me. I always use the weather as an excuse to just not go out and draw. It's just straight up cold and dark half the year here. But that's no excuse to not go and draw in like museums and cafes and stuff, like indoor places. You can help keep me accountable with this because I usually like to film and make like draw with me videos when I go out and draw. So I'm going to aim as a target to try and make a new come and draw with me on location, wherever it is, video about once a month. That's the goal. I'm not sure I'm going to get around to it every single month, and there will be some times where I do go out and draw and just decide not to take my camera. But yeah, out of all the different kinds of videos that I make, although they don't necessarily get the most views, the drawing on location ones are my favourites to film. They're my favourites to look back on as well. I think this is going to be a really positive intention for this year. Goal number 2 is to do something that scares me art-wise on a regular basis. Maybe this one could be once a month or something too. What I mean by this is trying art techniques or weird compositions or art materials I'm unfamiliar with, or certain subjects that I maybe know I'm bad at and I'm avoiding, or just something along those lines that is out of my comfort zone as an artist. I'm grateful to be at a point in my, art journey where I finally have an art style that's solidifying and feels like me, and I'm finding I genuinely like a lot of the stuff that I'm making right now as well, which is huge compared to where I was a few years ago. But at the same time, I don't want that to turn into stagnation. I have this pressure I put on myself of everything I make needs to be good enough to sell or turn into a product on Etsy or put on social media or be usable in some productive way. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time. But I think that's a recipe for just making the same safe, predictable things over and over again, which I really don't want to do. The goal of these do something that scares me art pieces, not to make something that looks amazing or even any good, but just to get me thinking outside of the box in ways that could apply back to my usual artwork. I often use the metaphor of earning EXP points when it comes to art, like in a game like Pokemon or something. So with that metaphor, I want these scary art pieces to be like boss battles, challenging, and I might completely mess up a couple times and totally have to start over, but I'll level up a whole bunch along the way. Goal number 3 is I want to try and complete 4 sketchbooks this year, which sounds like a totally arbitrary number, but hear me out. I want to be able to fill a sketchbook around every 3 months, so that will be 4 in a year. That is about the rate that I would like to be drawing at. It's not the rate I'm drawing at right now, so that's a goal. That's something I'm going to have to work towards. I love drawing in my sketchbook. My sketchbook is my best friend, and it's so great for my art practice. Every big breakthrough or big realization I've had about the kind of art I want to make, or my art style, or really great ideas for products and projects and things like that, that's always happened in my sketchbook while I'm drawing. I find that if I just sit and stare into space and try to come up with a cool illustration idea, I'll come up with nothing. But if I just start drawing whatever random crap in my sketchbook, suddenly through the act of drawing, I'll get inspired and I'll be able to come up with something. I think there is something very magical about the pure act of drawing itself that I can't really put my finger on. But I can just be drawing any old thing and I'll just feel it lighting up my brain and all my brain cells firing. It's just so great for my creativity and my mood. It's just magic. But even with saying all that, I still don't manage to make time to draw in my sketchbook anywhere near as often as I want to, which is mad because I know how good it is for me. So I'm hoping that this resolution of trying to fill a sketchbook every 3 months is gonna remind me to get those hours in. A big part of this as well is gonna be remembering that lots of sketchbook pages can be ugly, and that's totally fine and okay, and that's what they're there for. I'm not gonna be ultra strict on this one and, beat myself up if I have a super busy month and I fall behind. That's okay, that's human. It's more of an intention and a reminder than a strict goal, I would say. Goal number 4. This is kind of linked to the last one. I want to make a new sketchbook zine. My Japan sketchbook zine was a hit and sold really well, which made me so happy. The thing is, I've filled so many other sketchbooks over the last few years, and all of their contents and their art is just tucked away on the shelves and forgotten. It's a tragedy. My sketchbooks are such a big part of my art practice, and I really want to share that a bit more. Personally, I love looking through other people's sketchbooks. I find it so fascinating, so I hope other people feel the same way and they want to see mine as well. Goal 4 is to make at least one new sketchbook zine this year. Goal number 5 is I want to start making actual progress on one of my comic/graphic novel ideas that I have floating around inside my head. If you know me IRL, you've probably heard me talk about how I want to make this comic or that comic. So it's time to actually walk the walk and get started on something. Now, this is much more of a long-term project idea, and I don't expect to have anything to officially publish in 2025, not by a long stretch. I mean, longer comics are very much a labour of love. Sometimes they can take many years to do for like a chunky graphic novel. I don't know, moving slow is better than staying still. There's no use thinking, oh, this is going to take 2 years to do, so I won't do it, because the thing is, those 2 years are going to pass anyway. Do you want to have your project finished at the end of those 2 years or not? This is what's going through my head at the moment. This is what I'm telling myself. I really like the art that I'm making right now. I've come out with some prints and pins and things I'm really proud of, but I really like the idea of having a body of work. I want to have some solid, complete, big projects, like a book, that I can point at and say, this is what I do, this is what I have to contribute, this is my work. I don't know, it's tricky. Making money as an artist is hard, everyone knows that, but so I do need to spend a lot of my time on things that can make money in the short term. So like markets and conventions and making products for my shop, that takes up most of my time, and that is why my kind of comic and bigger project ideas have been pushed to the wayside so far. I don't know, I don't want to keep letting that happen, because then, the years are just going to pass me by. So yeah, long story short, this year I really want to properly get started on a big comic/book project. And I know I'm being very vague here, both in terms of the project I'm going to be working on and what it is that I'm going to count as making a start. The thing is, I don't really feel ready to say this is exactly what I'm going to make this year, because I'm not ready to pin myself down specifically yet. But I have ideas. I'm definitely planning things, so watch this space. Number 6, something I've been thinking a lot about is how I want to start being way, way more intentional about the media that I consume. I'm just going to roast myself for a second here. My screen time's horrific. I'm sure some of you have got the same issue. And it's not even good. It's not even good screen time. I'm not anti-technology. I love video games and Netflix. And I think there's a lot of amazing artistic content on YouTube as well. But honestly, for most of my screen time, that isn't the content I'm consuming. I'm just sitting mindlessly scrolling through absolute slop on Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever. And I don't even understand why I do it, because I don't enjoy it and it makes me feel negative. It's meant to be restful, I guess, but I just come away from it feeling even more drained. So I don't know, why do I do it? Why am I like this? Leisure time is precious and I don't want an algorithm that does not have my best interests in mind deciding how I spend it. Like, that's up to me. Being an artist is like, here's another metaphor for you. It's like an engine where media and nature and art is the fuel that you put in the engine and then art comes out the other side. But if the fuel I'm feeding my brain is dumb internet slop, what does that mean for the end product art? Things like beautiful video games, great movies, animation, vlogs from artists that I love, these are things that I actively enjoy and that inspire me and leave me coming away from them feeling refreshed and creative. I want the media I watch to fill my creative cup. I've downloaded an app that limits my Instagram to an hour a day, which has been a really good step. I'm already feeling a lot better and calmer and more kind of balanced in myself. But I think as well as keeping myself away from the things I don't want to be doing, I also need to be taking an active step towards the things that I do want to be doing. So this kind of intention around media is something I'm going to be keeping in mind this year. The seventh thing I've written down is less of a goal and more of this is something that's going to be happening. So if you didn't catch me talking about this in my last Draw and Chat video, I'm going to be going to Japan again very soon. I'm so excited. Actually, in fact, if this video goes up when I think it's going to go up, I am in the air right now. I am currently on a 14-hour flight to Tokyo, so that's really weird to think about. I feel like it's not real yet. I don't know, like I'm in the middle of packing, but it still doesn't feel real yet. But yeah, we're going to be staying in Tokyo again, near Shibuya. Tokyo is just such a colossal, multifaceted city that we barely even scratched the surface last time. There's still a million things that we want to do there that we didn't get around to last time. So I can't wait. One thing I'm really excited about is that I managed to get tickets to the Studio Ghibli Museum. I totally failed to get a booking on these last time. They release months of tickets in blocks. And last time I went to Japan, I was on the website ready to go for refreshing that the instant the bookings dropped. And it was a bloodbath. There was 10,000 people in the queue. I didn't get a look in, but I did manage this time, so that's really exciting. Probably because we're going in January, which is less of an absolute peak time. But yeah, Japan. So I'm going to be taking a sketchbook with me, and I'm hoping to film some videos while I'm there as well, like drawing on location and that kind of thing. Japan is such an inspiring place. It's incredibly beautiful and very, very, very different to the UK in a lot of ways. Last time I was there, I remember just walking around feeling like I couldn't open my eyes wide enough to take in everything and all of the differentness, and every single little detail is fascinating. And there's art everywhere. You can tell that illustration is really highly valued in Japan because it's just on every surface. Every single business has like an adorable cartoon mascot. Billboards are covered in illustration rather than like just using photography. Even little things like a restaurant will have a little manga diagram on the wall explaining like how to order. It's just really nice. So yeah, I was talking a minute ago about filling up my creative cup. Japan is that on turbo mode. It's going to be so great. Also the food, oh my god, I need to have a 7-Eleven tuna onigiri immediately. That is going to be the first thing I do when we touch down in Tokyo. By the way, I don't think I'm going to be making another Japan sketchbook comic zine, but I am going to make a Japan sketchbook tour video when I get back, so I'll be able to share the sketchbook that I do there with you in that way. But yeah, so those are my art goals for 2025. I'm sure I'll think of more, but this is what's on my mind right now. Hopefully I'll be able to come back to this video at the end of the year and smugly say I've done all of them flawlessly. Probably not, we'll see. If you happen to be seeing this video later on in 2025, how's it looking? Have AI eaten all the humans yet? If any of this has got you feeling inspired, there's no need to wait for a new year to start with a list of goals like this. You can just have a new start whenever you like. Please tell me in the comments what your goals and hopes are for 2025, artistic and otherwise. I'd love to know. I'll sign off here. Thank you for hanging out with me and have an amazing 2025.